For the next 31 days on the FCPA Compliance Report, we're going to be bringing you a daily tip, strategy, or idea that you can use to improve your program. Here's your host, Tom Fox, the Compliance Evangelist.
This month's sponsor of 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance program is Affiliated Monitors. Founded in 2004, Affiliated Monitors provides professional, independent integrity monitoring and ethics and compliance assessments nationally and internationally and across almost all industries. With its knowledge of effective ethics and compliance programs and cultures, Affiliated Monitors is respected for its work as the corporate monitor on matters ranging from multinational corporations to small and mid-sized companies and even individuals. Having served in over 750 monitorships, no one has more experience as an independent monitor than the team at Affiliated Monitors. For more information on how an independent monitor can help improve your company's ethics and compliance programs, visit this month's sponsor, Affiliated Monitors, at www.affiliatedmonitors.com.
COSO's Objectives and Principles, Control Activities. In the framework volume, COSO Control Activities are the actions established through policies and procedures that help ensure that management's directives to mitigate risk to the achievement of objectives are carried out. Control activities are performed at all levels of the entity, at various stages within the business process, and over the technological environment. They may be preventative or detective in nature and may encompass a range of manual and automated activities such as authorizations and approvals, verifications, reconciliations, and business performance reviews. Segregation of duties is typically built into the selection and development of control activities. Where the segregation of duties is not practical, management selects and develops alternative control activities. This concept of a second set of eyes is directly enshrined in this objective. Finally, control activities should be performed at all levels in the business cycle within an organization and speaks directly to the operationalization of your compliance program. The objective of control activities consists of three principles. Principle 10 selects and develops control activities. There is no silver bullet in selecting the right internal controls, yet when combined with your risk assessment, this principle points to an integration of your policies, procedures, and overall corporate responsibilities, which should be chosen sufficiently to reduce the risk of not achieving objectives to an acceptable level. You could consider your relevant business processes, evaluate your mix of control activities, and then consider at what levels within your organization they are applied. But you should begin an analysis of control activities with a list of controls and check off whether or not they are present. Rather, controls should be assessed to the risk which they are mitigated. Principle 11 selects and develop general controls over technology. The framework volume recognizes the dependency between the use of technology in business processes and compliance control. The use of technology will only be greater and more important going forward. I would certainly expect the SEC to focus a company's use of technology in any evaluation of its overall compliance program. Therefore, under this principle, you will need to determine not only the use of technology in your compliance-related internal controls, but also the use of technology in your overall business process. To do so, you'll need to consider your technological infrastructure around compliance internal controls, security management of same, and the use of information to move forward to obtain and implement the most appropriate technology around your compliance internal controls. Principle 12, control activities established through policies and procedures. This principle should be the most familiar one to the compliance practitioner as it points to the establishments of policies and procedures to support deployment of your compliance regime. It also sets out the responsibility and accountability for executing policies and procedures, specifies and assures corrective action as required, and mandates periodic assessment. Interestingly, it also directs that there be competent personnel in place to do so. Responsibilities for control activities should be identified through policies and various procedures. Processes should be in place to ensure that all aspects are implemented and working. While the objective of control activities should be the most familiar to the CCO or compliance practitioner, this objective demonstrates the interrelatedness of the 5 COSO principles. It is your control environment and risk assessment which should lead you to this point. It is control activities objective which lays the groundwork for a living, breathing compliance program going forward. This objective demonstrates the interrelatedness of the corporate functions in your organization. From a financial reporting perspective, Control Activities requires you to put in place accounting processes, revenue recognition tools, contract management systems, and other accounting sets with software to manage the process. This easily translates into the compliance realm as well. This puts your entire whole technology issue and portends an enormous amount of information provided by your company. If you're dealing with costs to acquire contracts, you may have to get that information in your accounting system, but you have never before had to get commission information and some of the other COSO elements. Such data will literally be scattered across the globe, so you'll need to have controls over both accumulation and attestation required in this right set of data. This is one of the many more challenging ways, and it's different than pulling a Band-Aid off at once and pulling it off slowly over a number of years. This requires two separate processes, so you'll need to be able to reconcile the two and then get the auditors and yourselves comfortable with the controls of the accumulation and reporting of this information. This will typically require a lot of changes to the IT system, the technologies involved, and it requires that controls be in place for both the disclosures you'll need to make and any reporting going forward. Under this objective, you're required to have new ways of capturing the information obtained in the controls, gathering the information obtained through the controls, confirming the accuracy and completeness of the information contained in the controls. When you select a control activity, what control activities do you need with disparate accounting systems literally across the globe? If you're getting into general controls over technology, what systems controls do you have to make sure the new information you're getting is accurate? The control activity regarding policies and procedures is also an important consideration for the compliance practitioner going forward. So what are today's three key takeaways? Well, first of all, think of this objective, control activities, as requiring a second set of eyes. Second, segregation of duties is a basic control, but it's also a key component of control activities. And finally, control activities should be performed at all levels in the business cycle within an organization, and this speaks as directly as any other control to the operationalization of your compliance program going forward. This is Tom Fox. I hope you've enjoyed Day 17 of 1 month to more effective internal controls, and I hope you'll join me tomorrow for Day 18. This is Tom Fox again. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of 1 month to better internal controls. If you've listened to this podcast on iTunes, I would greatly appreciate it if you would rate this podcast, as it would help in our rankings. The word out about the only 1 month podcast series, which enables you to design, implement, and enhance a better compliance program. Also, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at tfox@tfoxlaw.com. This is Tom Fox. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you will join us again tomorrow.
Once again, thanks to our sponsor, Affiliated Monitors, for sponsoring this month's series. This production of 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program is a special production of the Compliance Podcast Network. I hope you will join me again tomorrow.